while visions of sugar plums dance through their head. The holidays seem to be all about food, don't they? Well, having been on a 200-pound weight loss journey over the last couple of years and keeping the weight off, I wanted to share with you some of my top strategies to keep the weight off during the holiday season, ways to combat weight gain during the holiday season that are practical, that are sustainable, that are clever, and that will help you get through the season dropping pounds instead of putting them on. So let's talk about preparation, because really this entire video is about preparation. And we'll start with physical preparation, because I think one of the biggest game changers for me was knowing that I was going to be put in social events where people are eating around me, and I needed to figure out how I was going to avoid all those Christmas cookies, all those Christmas cakes, all those Christmas desserts, and all that Christmas food had accumulated on my hips and my belly for the past many years, and I didn't want to go through that again. So being physically prepared meant a couple of things to me. Number one is, if you're going to a social event, don't sit near the food. Seriously, if you're in a formal event, ask to be seated somewhere away from the food. If it's a family gathering, sit on the couch in the other room that's in the far corner. You do not need to be watching people take your old favorite foods and longing for it as you think, well, maybe I could have a little bit, because you can't. So be prepared by being on the other side of the room. If you have the time to call the person who's hosting ahead of time and ask them what they plan on having on the menu, and you see that they're having salads and vegetables and maybe roast chicken or roast turkey, that's awesome. But if there's things like just lasagna and shepherd's pie and all these things that are loaded with heavy, rich, calorie high food and fats, try to avoid those, and maybe think about bringing your own food. I did that a couple of times and it really paid off. Another trick, eat before you go, so you're not hungry and you're not picking and grazing and not tempted to wander over to that food table and take just a little bit more. Or when you're sitting at the dinner table and you finished your portions and you realize, gosh, I'm still kind of full from earlier. You don't need to have more, so you just socially can interact with people without feeling like you need to be eating. Be prepared for dessert time to come, because it always does, and that was my weak spot. So again, don't go near the desserts. When people are serving all those pies, cookies, and cakes and ice cream, you don't need to go there. There's no reason. If you want a little bit of something for a treat, ask a friend to get you a small plate of fruit, of berries, and you're going to really enjoy that instead of having something that you're going to beat yourself up for later on in the day. The last thing you need is to feel guilty about what you're eating during the holiday season. Then there is mental preparation. Know that you're going to be around the food. Know that you're going to be tempted. Know that people are going to come up to you and say, oh my gosh, you look awesome. But if you lost weight, well, you can have a piece because you're losing weight. Who cares? Have one piece. You need to be firm in your resolve and say, thank you so much. Wow, that really means a lot to me. But you know what? I have to stick to this, because if I have one piece, I have 20. And just be open about it. Don't be afraid to tell them that you can't have any because you'll have 20 pieces. Don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry, I can't have that right now. I'm on a food plan that doesn't allow for this. And you can say as much as you want. You can say as little as you want. You don't owe anybody excuses, and just be at peace about that. So mental preparation is really important. Also, when you do see the foods that trigger you, how are you going to deal with that? Let's say you're looking at creme brulee and that's your weakness, and they're serving it and you're watching people eat it. You don't have to sit and watch them eat it. You can get up. You can walk out of the room. You can go outside, get a little bit of a chill in the air to freshen you up. Breathe in the deep cold, or if you're in the south, breathe in the ocean air and the sunshine. Enjoy the fresh air and let it reset your calibration. Let it take your mind off of the food. And if you can't get outside, just go to another room. Maybe think a little bit, purposely look at your phone and jot down what's going on inside you if you're struggling with it. Also, social settings can set you off emotionally. So be prepared emotionally. Number one, family and friends push our buttons. Family and friends know how to push them. So if your buttons get pushed, what are you going to do to stop yourself from turning to the old habits of eating and into using the strategies that we're talking about and learning over time to not turn to food when you're feeling emotionally triggered? So keep your phone with you, and if you're a paper writer, have a notebook in your purse or somewhere handy close by that you can get to. I always have my phone with me, and on my phone there's a dictate feature for my diary, which is called Diarium. It is the best. I have tried several digital diaries, and this one totally rocks. Journal your emotions if you're feeling triggered, if somebody sets you off, if somebody hurts your feelings, if somebody is just someone that you don't connect well with and gets your hackles up. You don't have to deal with them. Walk away, journal for a little bit, let it out. And if they're being a little bit pushy or if they're making you feel off, just say, could you excuse me a moment? I just remembered I have to do something, and kindly step away. You don't have to defend yourself because you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to listen to everything they have to say just because you're polite, because we're not meant to be beat up, even if it's subtle. Even if it's just snarky and judgmental, it doesn't matter. You don't have to stay. So set boundaries for yourself if you're being emotionally triggered by someone, to kindly and lovingly step away. The lovingness is to yourself, the kindness is to the other person, the kindness is to yourself because you get yourself out of a situation that could trigger you. Let's talk about how the holidays can feel like a really lonely time, which can trigger us to want to eat more because sometimes we feel like, well, food is my friend. We've talked about this. Food is not your friend. Food doesn't hold your hand as you're having a bad day. Food doesn't say, hey, why don't we deal with what's going on? I'm going to help you think of a way out of this situation. It just makes it worse. It just makes you gain weight, makes you feel guilty about gaining weight, and then it lies to you and tells you it's going to help you not feel so guilty again. Lies. Food's not your friend. It is not comforting you. It just makes you feel like crap after you eat it. So remember that. If you're feeling lonely this holiday season, here are some things that you can do to feel better. Keep yourself busy. Have a schedule up. Do things that are out of the ordinary. Go for walks in neighborhoods that have Christmas lights. I love doing that. Go for a drive to enjoy the different Christmas sites. Look online to see what's going on in your town or your city and go. Just because you're by yourself doesn't mean that you're not going to have a great time. You can go and enjoy the sights, enjoy the music, enjoy the festivities. And instead of thinking like, oh, I wish I wasn't alone, you can think, I'm so proud of myself. I'm alone and I'm here and I'm having a great time. And let yourself drink in the festivities. Let yourself smile at people as you walk by. Enjoy the Christmas music. Enjoy the joy that surrounds you. There's no reason you need to go to loneliness instead of being in a positive way alone and happy. One thing I love in the winter is going for walks in new fallen snow. There's nothing like it. You go outside and you hear the crunch, crunch, crunch under your feet, and there's a silence that the snow insulates us from that only happens in new fallen snow. So get out there, enjoy the snow, bundle up and look ridiculous, and smile. Enjoy something that only happens once in a while. Just because it's cold doesn't mean you can't be warm. Maybe your cheeks will be cold, but you can bundle up and feel great. So Christmas is all about presents and treats and feeling good. And I encourage you to do that. but food is not one of our treats anymore. So, no rewarding yourself or gifting yourself or being kind to yourself with food. Don't think of desserts as a treat anymore because they're not a treat. They're hurting you, they're not helping you, they're toxic, they're not friendly, they're harmful. So, how do you celebrate without eating? Why don't you go and have a manicure? Get cute little snowmen put on your fingernails or your toenails, or snowflakes or little candy canes. Why not enjoy it and enjoy the season? I am one of those geeky people who likes to wear red at Christmas time, who likes nice, classy Christmas sweaters, who likes to feel Christmassy. And for a long time I thought, oh, well, I'm too cool for that. No, I love it. I love feeling like I'm dressed in red and festive and feeling the moment. And you know what? I'm alone at Christmas time, but I don't feel lonely. I have my family, but we're pretty individualistic. So although we're together Christmas Day, most of the holiday season, I'm pretty alone. And my boyfriend is very long distance from me, so I don't get to spend the time with him. And so I just make the best of it day after day. I make a decision to conscientiously choose joy. You can do the same. There's no reason to feel lonely, even if you're alone. Add some sparkle to how you're dressing. Add some sparkle. And when I say that, I don't mean necessarily shiny things, but I mean let yourself shine. Put on your favorite colors. Wear red. Put a pretty dress on. Do your hair. Put some lip gloss on. Carry yourself high. Put your posture back. Smile more. And remember the joy you used to have as a child. Recapture that joy. Think of the things you can be thankful for and live in that gratitude. You can have a fantastic holiday season this time. It doesn't have to be lonely like it was in the past. Choose joy. Choose you. Choose to be loving and kind and happy with yourself. You are enough. You don't have to have someone else validate you. You don't have to have somebody else to give you a good day. And therefore, you don't need to turn to food when you feel like you're lacking that somebody else. You don't need to turn to food when your day suddenly changes and it doesn't feel as good as it was feeling, or something happens that throws you off, or something happens that throws you off kilter. Try not baking this year. I know that was a really hard one for me. And the first year I felt obligated because I always made hundreds of cookies for everybody in the family, and I did it. And not eating them was really hard. But I didn't eat any. And since then, this is my third Christmas on my weight loss journey. I don't bake Christmas cookies anymore. I don't make the treats anymore because you know what? I'm not having them. Why should I surround myself with things that are toxic for me? When my kids want Christmas cookies, they make them or they buy them. I don't have to do that anymore. If they were younger, maybe I would, but I don't need to put myself in a position where I'm surrounded by the things that used to tempt me the most. I know the holiday seasons can be a little bit busier than most times, but try to stick to your workout routine. Stick to your 3 meals a day. Stick to your 2 liters of water a day. Stick to your walking every day, whatever form of mobility you have. I know maybe Christmas Day will be really busy, but other than that, try to incorporate your regular routine into your day, even though it's busier. What I found was when I let myself go a few days in a row and said, oh, I'm just so exhausted because I have so much on my plate, it made me feel depressed. And when I felt depressed, I was not able to stick to what I needed to stick to. So that's just a suggestion for you and something to keep in mind as you are getting through the holidays. Try to stick to your normal diet. Try to stick to your normal mobility routine. It will help you a lot and it will keep you in a positive mindset. You won't feel like, oh, I'm losing ground. I'm losing my progress. Keeping going every day is going to catapult you forward successfully through the holiday season. Talking about being busy, don't overstretch yourself. it's really easy to get caught up in visiting one person and another and going shopping 10 times today and another time tomorrow and 3 times the day after to different stores. Number one, there's online shopping. I do everything online pretty much. Shop online. Don't exert yourself day after day by shopping for people outside. Number two, plan your visits. You're not obligated to see everybody you know at Christmas time. It's nice to get the visits in, but sometimes to help us get past the post holiday depression time that we go through, I have learned to schedule time after Christmas and after the holiday season to be able to catch up with people, and it gives me something to look forward to, and I'm not crunching everything into just a few weeks of time where I feel overexerted and I feel exhausted and I feel like, oh, I can't get through another hour, never mind another day. Plan your social events well. Even if you only go to 1 or 2 events during the holiday season, or you don't go to any at all, it's okay. If you are bombarded with invitations, you don't have to go to everything you're invited to. Again, it's about remaining peaceful and not overexerting yourself and not getting into this hyper chaotic whirlwind of activity, because that's going to set you off. Stay balanced and plan. Remember, I talk to you a lot about not setting yourself up for failure. If you're doing 4 visits today and you have 3 more planned for the next few days and you don't have any time to reflect, you don't take the time to journal, you don't take the time to go for your walk and do your exercise, after a few days, you're going to be feeling guilty. After a few days, you're going to start feeling down about it. So plan carefully and don't feel bad if you need to say no. The important thing is to focus on being positive. And being positive sometimes means being kind to yourself and saying, I have limits. And I really don't like when I go to such and such as the house. So why set yourself up and put yourself in a place where you might be unhappy, where you know somebody makes you uncomfortable or it's not a comfortable situation for you? Your obligation is to yourself. Your obligation is to keep yourself at peace and to have your own happiness as a priority. And if that means that you have to say no to an invitation, that's okay. On the opposite end, if you're spending the holiday season alone, which although I have family, most of my time other than Christmas Day is alone. And I chose not to feel lonely. And that looked like doing things and planning things for myself that would keep me busy. I put Christmas music on. I put red nail polish on. I dressed nicely, even though I was going to be alone for the day or just taking care of my granddaughters. Sometimes I'll just go to the movies by myself to enjoy a little treat. No popcorn. That used to be a problem for me. You can go see the Nutcracker. You can listen to Christmas songs. I have my favorite Christmas playlists. And there are so many ways to enjoy the holiday season. Your town or city might have so much going on that you don't know about. Look it up. It's really exciting. You could do outdoor activities. You could join carolers or you could watch carolers. There's so much to do to put yourself in a Christmas spirit, even though you're alone. You don't have to feel lonely, and you can plan your days, you can plan your evenings, you can plan your weeks and the entire holiday season to not set yourself up to feel lonely. Another suggestion I have is take time to reflect. And you want to reflect both in the present moment and think about what's going on and the things you have to be grateful for, because when we stay positive, we're less likely to turn to food when we're feeling lonely. And take time to reflect the joyful moments of your childhood, previous holiday seasons where you remember gifts and you remember the people you love, you remember the joy, and you can capture that joy by looking at a small child walking down the street. You could capture that joy in watching old Christmas movies that are your favorite movies. You can capture it by listening to Christmas music and doing activities. I made my grandchildren a couple of stockings 2 years ago, and I enjoyed that so much, and they turned out really nice actually. And I'm so proud of it too. So think of things you can do that will be positive and a little bit holiday-ish and a little bit special, and get yourself through the holidays shining. And you won't need to turn to food because you feel lonely. You won't need to turn to food because it's there and you didn't plan ahead for it. You will be prepared in every way if you follow this simple set of strategies. If you're like me, you might even end up losing weight in the process. So that's it for today. I know it's been a little while since my last video and I mentioned it, but my boot camp I'm going to, which was supposed to be 17 hours of school and a half hour of homework, maybe 5 days a week, is now 23 hours of school plus maybe 5 or 6 hours of work every day. Every day. I have to constantly practice. I have to constantly study. I have to constantly try to grasp the 3 or 4 concepts that they're throwing out at us every day. So it's intense. And I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 videos a week as I get through this time. I think I'm through the hardest part of it now. I hope so. And I really miss interacting with you. So I'm looking forward to getting back on track. And then when it's over, getting back to having more regular videos again. So thanks for watching. If you like my ideas, let me know. Let me know in the comments what it is that will help you get through having a successful and happy holiday season, and what ideas you may have to get yourself through successfully as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and I'll be back soon with more, lots of ideas, and I'll see you soon.